My name is Jessica Lumi Oluwagbemi, and I am the founder of the Financial Literate, which was born from the passion to see that youths, teens, and adults are financially literate. I believe those financial terms are not as complex as you think they are, and you can understand and apply them to your finances. Yes, you can build wealth with the right plan in place, the right money personality, consistency, and the right lessons at each step of the way. So I bring to you the Financial Literate series, a video series that would break down the seemingly financial complex terms and give you the right lessons at every step of your journey to financial independence and freedom. So, let's get started. Welcome to today's episode, and in this episode I am going to be addressing how we can handle emergencies. I'm going to get started with a story. So some time ago my family slept at home, and then we woke up the next morning to see that a part of our home had been damaged. Wow, we didn't even see this coming, no prior signs, and then a part of it had already been damaged. Now the bills for repair came, and then it was ranging from 210,000 naira to 600,000 naira, depending on the option you want. Did we plan for it? No. Did you see it coming? No. This is what we call emergencies. Emergencies are unexpected financial dilemmas. And for you to be responsible for your finances, you should also make plans for emergencies. That is why we have something we call an emergency fund. Now, emergency fund is a readily source of assets, cash, and other highly liquid assets. That is assets you can easily turn into cash that is set aside to cater for unexpected financial dilemmas. It is a safety net to cover unexpected financial obligations. So what constitutes emergencies? Home repair, like in my story, car repair, unexpected medical bills, loss of a major source of income, loss of job, emergencies, things you do not expect, things you do not plan for, and sure, these are called emergencies, and an emergency fund should address and cater for emergencies. Now I have explained what an emergency fund is and what constitutes emergencies. So how can we build an emergency fund? Experts advise that your emergency fund should consist of at least 3 to 6 months of your basic monthly expenses. Others also advise 6 to 9 months, and others 9 to 12 months. But just start with one and keep increasing your emergency fund. Now, I know it takes discipline for you to keep an emergency fund because you are tempted to spend the money, especially when you can't see any emergency coming and you feel, let me just spend this money. But then it is better for you to save than to be sorry and wish you had saved up for emergencies. So an emergency fund is very, very important. Before you even tie up so much in your investment, especially long-term investment, you should have an emergency fund, because it makes no sense for you to have a lot of money tied long-term and then you are cash strapped short-term. So an emergency fund is very, very important. Now, how can you build an emergency fund? A very good way is using windfalls, that is money that you do not expect, gifts, bonuses, overtime pay, bonuses, cash gifts. You can use a percentage of it to build your emergency fund. And then if you don't have any emergency fund, I advise that you make it priority over the next few months, that you take a part of your income and set it aside for emergencies. Now, how do you keep one, or where can you keep an emergency fund? Now, because we know that we are easily tempted to spend money, so I advise that you keep it out of your reach but yet still accessible. Now, we have banks, especially banks in Nigeria, I'm sure in other countries too. There are banks that offer you high interest on your savings accounts. That is, if you do not withdraw more than the stipulated amount of money. I know for Stanbic IBTC they have the max yield savings account, and I'm sure for other banks they have the accounts that you can just put your money and leave it to a particular minimum and have a stipulated amount of withdrawals for you to enjoy a rich interest. Now, an emergency fund is not an investment, so you are not looking or trying to gain super returns on your emergency fund. Rather, you should keep it liquid. They should be liquid, they should be easily accessible. So you should put them in something that it will preserve its value. You know that you don't have to worry that maybe it can be lost in investments or anything. No, you can actually preserve its value, and they are also liquid. So you can build your emergency fund with windfalls, and if you don't have any emergency fund at all. Take your income over the next few months, take a part of your income and build an emergency fund. It makes you responsible so that when anything happens, you don't have to go around trying to borrow money or look for help. You are responsible enough, and then you can just say, okay, I'm going to take out of my emergency fund to fix this without any financial stress at all. So it helps you even avoid a lot of financial stress. So that is how you can build an emergency fund, how you can keep an emergency fund. And lastly, on the emergency funds, I'm going to tell you mistakes that you should not make. Number one, an emergency fund should address emergencies. Like I said, you need discipline, because you may feel, oh, why do I have to keep this money? I have maybe bills to pay, I have expenses to pay, I'll just take from my emergency fund and build it. No, you should only address emergencies. Those are unexpected financial dilemmas. You should keep it only for emergencies. Don't use your emergency fund to fund luxurious items or a vacation or anything that you know, I have this money saved up, let me just pick out of it and use it. It is actually wrong. Keep your emergency fund strictly for emergencies only. Number two mistake you should not make with your emergency fund, that is after you've saved it up, is that an emergency fund should be for your emergencies. It is very, very important. So let me tell you another story. So there was a young lady that approached me some time back, and she was able to save up a considerable amount of money in an emergency fund. Now this is the issue she always have. Anytime people have emergencies, they would come to her for her to lend them some money. So maybe someone has an emergency, she would lend the person out of her emergency fund, because then it was just a stack of cash, a stack of money she just kept aside. And since she wasn't using it and she cannot see any emergency, now emergencies will never tell you, I am coming, prepare for me. They will never tell you that. So you just have to be prepared. Now she kept on lending people out of her emergency fund, and I was asking her that, come, wait, what if an emergency happens to you tomorrow? I'm not praying for evil for you, but what if an emergency happens to you tomorrow? What are you going to do? Are you going to start running helter-skelter? You try getting the money from these people when it is not even the time that they had told you that they would pay. So an emergency fund should address your emergencies, and you should be able to keep them. Oh, this is just for my emergency. Anything can happen, and I am prepared, I am ready, and I can take out of this fund to address my emergencies. This makes you responsible. This helps you reduce financial stress, and it also gives you a kind of peace of mind, because you know that you are not scared that anything can happen. At least you are prepared to a good and to a large extent. So that is that, an emergency fund. Thank you for joining me into this episode. If you have not subscribed to this channel, do subscribe so that you can get notifications of our weekly posts, and you can go through our description box. You can get the steps of how you can join our community for free, and then you can follow me on Instagram to get weekly finance tips. Thank you.